Okay, here we go, round 2. Question 1. Are you going to review any Final Fantasy games? Well, there's no telling what will happen between now and when I decide I would like to do a Final Fantasy game. I could get hit by a train, the house could explode, I could go careening off the edge of a cliff on my way to work, I could get stabbed, who knows? Anything crazy could happen. But I do have Final Fantasy on my list of potential games to review. The only problem is, there's a lot of games I want to do. I mean, I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this for. Not to say that I'm going to be quitting, but who knows how long it'll last. And I can't do every game that I want to. So, not definite, but it is a franchise I would like to be able to hit on. Not sexually, of course. Can you show your console collection? I can, but not really at the moment because I don't have a video camera that works, but I don't know. I don't really see myself doing a console collection video. It just isn't me. Will you review Dragon Warrior 2? Yes, I will, when I beat it. I still haven't gotten through Dragon Warrior 2. The first one was the only one I had growing up, and beat it then. And then when I got Dragon Warrior 2 maybe like 6 years ago or so, put the game down after getting pretty far into it, and then when I finally picked it back up, it had been so long since I had played it, but when I did finally stop playing again, I forgot where the hell I was. I forgot what I was supposed to do. I didn't know what my tasks were. I didn't know what items to get, so I said, fuck it, I'm going to start all over again, and that's what I'm in the middle of right now, is getting back to where I was in Dragon Warrior 2. So when I finally do beat it, I will have a walkthrough prepared for it. Have you played the new Punch-Out yet? No, and I'm pretty ashamed to say that I haven't, because Punch-Out is one of my childhood favorites, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. It looks impressive. There's no reason why I shouldn't have played it other than the fact that I don't have a Wii, and the people that I know that do have one don't have the game. I recommended it to all of them. Still waiting on it. What is your favorite Capcom game? That one's pretty easy. Mega Man 2 is pretty much my favorite game of all time. There's a lot of good Capcom games to choose from, but that one is just the bee's knees for me. Have you ever played a game from Blizzard? Battle Chess is one. I've dabbled a little bit with Diablo and World of Warcraft, but other than that, no. And even those games, I didn't really play full throttle. I just messed around with them. Will you please review Jackal? Well, you used the magic word, so I guess I'm going to have to. Do you plan to do an eventual review walkthrough of Super Mario Bros. 3? Well, I've done 1 and 2. It would be kind of ridiculous if I went on forever without doing 3. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time for that one, but it'll be fun because it's Super Mario Bros. 3. Do you have any superpowers aside from sounding badass? Yes, I have the key to the city. Will you be reviewing Mega Man 5 and 6 at some point? And also, will you review Mega Man 9? I know it's not an NES game, but it is in the style of an NES game. Well, my question is, where is 7 and 8 in this question? I know that I, pretty much have stuck with NES games for 99% of my walkthroughs, but I do want to get into the 16-bit era, and Mega Man is one of my favorite franchises, so it would only make sense for me to go through all 9 of them. Do you play any of the Valve games? No, not regularly. What's your opinion on Active Enterprises and Radical Entertainment? I don't really have one, to be honest, so I'm not going to form an opinion based on nothing. What are some of your favorite game franchises? Some of them include Mega Man, big surprise, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, Mario, and believe it or not, the Madden series. I know that may be a big shocker to a lot of people who may not think I'm a big sports fan, and I'm not really so much a big sports fan, but I am a huge football fan, and I go through Madden season after Madden season with my stepdad. We have a system. I don't want to explain the whole thing because it'll take up a lot of the video, but it's a blast. It's one of my favorite gaming activities, I guess you could say. Are you going to do any DOS games? I don't know. Maybe a couple. I don't see it becoming a regular thing. I never say never in this field or whatever. Where did the name Aqualung come from? As a lot of you probably know, it's a song by Jethro Tull. And what I did was, after I made my first review, which was Adventures of Tom Sawyer, I didn't have a name for my show or my alias or whatever. I needed a name for it, so I randomly mentally scrolled through a bunch of songs, and Aqualung just popped up in there, and I just thought that it sounded like a cool name. So I went with it, not knowing that I would be doing it 2.5 years later and using it as the theme song to my intros. Did you ever play Ghostbusters on the Sega Genesis? Nope. I've seen some video of it, but never got around to it. I have played the Atari version, which I owned, and the NES version, which was handed down to me. Oh man, that's all I gotta say. What walkthrough did you dread doing the most? Well, in terms of the game itself, it was Dragon's Lair, because I just said to myself, how the hell am I going to do this? It was not fun recording that game footage. But it was a hell of a rewarding experience when I was finished with it. Which game from the Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest series, including spin-offs, is your favorite? Well, I've only played 1 and 2, to be honest with you. I am not hugely well-versed in the Dragon Quest series. I'm planning on taking it one step at a time. Beat the games one at a time. Can you please do a walkthrough of the Battle of Olympus? I've gotten this one quite a bit. Because you said the magic word, and because it's been requested quite a bit, I guess I'm gonna have to get going on that one. Did you ever like Pokemon? Nope, never got into it. Are you planning to do any Game Boy walkthroughs? You know, it's funny you mention that, because I said to myself kind of recently, you know, why the hell aren't I doing any Game Boy games yet? I didn't have a whole lot of them growing up, so it would be a once-in-a-while thing to throw a Game Boy game in there, but definitely expect it. What made you decide to do game reviews? It's kind of a hard question to answer, because there isn't one definitive event that took place that made me want to do it. I mean, I discovered James first, James Rolfe. That's not exactly uncommon amongst the game reviewing community. But after discovering a few others as well, I said to myself, kind of like in a half-joking tone, you know, maybe this is something that I could do too. After like a few months, I just went through with it. I put together the Tom Sawyer review. At the time, I was thinking that might be the only one I ever do. And I wasn't so sure about how well I even did it, but I just kept plugging, and it's pretty much become a hobby now. What is your fondest gaming memory growing up? This is a pretty profound question. I would say that when I was 6 years old, I had graduated kindergarten, and I had finally gotten my own Nintendo Entertainment System. I had played it several times at a friend's house, so when I finally got one for myself, it was huge. I mean, I loved my Atari, but nothing blew my mind quite like Mario did. Is there any game you didn't really like reviewing because it was just so hard to find any good points on it? Actually, I have a harder time reviewing games that don't have good points or bad points, because at least when they have bad points, you can at least make those bad points. It's the more extremely good or bad it is, the easier it is to come up with material. Ones that are kind of in the middle, it's hard to come up with points. It's hard to keep things interesting if things are right in the middle. So it's kind of a roadblock, but it doesn't ever really become a huge obstacle. Do you just record yourself playing the game, then edit out all the bad parts or useless parts, and then just put your voice over it, or what do you do to make the NES walkthroughs? First, I write out the script, then I capture the game footage, record the audio of my narration, and then I edit the video footage around the voice track. As far as programs that I use for that, I use Cam Studio to capture the screen footage, various emulators to play the games, Adobe Audition to record the audio, and Windows Movie Maker for the editing.